Hello guys and welcome to Shadowbringers. So let's get straight on with it. We're going to start with the main story. So we are here in the Rising Stones at 6-6 and we need to talk to Tataru. Let's do it. Let's get the ball rolling. So the first quest is called the Syrcus Trench. Tataru is itching to share what appears to be good news. So good news, Mithrie, we've had a stroke of luck in our search for that beacon. Apparently our colleagues have stumbled across a hidden path leading down into the hollows around the base of the Crystal Tower. So a path I doubt we'd ever have found had the Ironworks and the Suns not added their numbers to the party. Thanks to them, we have eager eyes aplenty down there, checking under rocks and peering into every nook and cranny. Still, it sounds like there's a lot of ground to cover. Then we better go and give them a hand. It sounds like tedious work. Lol. So that's changed. My thoughts exactly. The sooner we find that beacon, the sooner you can travel to wherever it is mysterious voice is coming from. And the sooner we can work out how to help our friends. We have to find a way to wake them up, and before the Empire comes calling again, meaning we have no time to lose. There's a boat in North Silvertier waiting to ferry people to the site. Let's be on our way. Okay. The way they change the music every time, it makes me laugh. Okay, so we need to go to there. So let's go. Okay, so we arrived. So let's talk now to the St. Connacht's ferryman. So heading to the survey site, madam. It's on the eastern shore of the lake, and the swiftest way to get there is by boat. Let's go then. Ooh, exotic.
Look how many people there are! Should we get to it then? Pick up anything that seems the least bit device-like, and we'll make ourselves a pile.
Well, if it isn't the hero of the hour, maybe you'll change our look. We've found bugger all without you.
Biggs! Wedge!
Aye, aye. Well, we could hardly say no to a call for aid from the Scions. Jesse called it the chief of some other business, so we'll be working twice as hard to make up for his not being here.
Thrice as hard, even.
Thank you, both of you. I'm sure we'll find that beacon in no time.
I'm not seeing anything out here. Do you reckon you could squeeze in there, Wedge?
And get stuck halfway? No, thank you.
I could try if you like.
Tataru, no! We couldn't ask you to do that.
Oh, I'll be fine. This receptionist is not afraid to get her hands dirty.
Sorry, I meant to say, the scholars haven't finished their preliminary assessment of the site yet, so we're not supposed to venture too far in. What's that you got there? Now that looks promising.
Isn't that the ironworks symbol? Counterfeiters?
Now I have you.
You are right.
What's happening?
Stay with me. Focus on my voice. Let expanse contract. Eon become instant.
Wait, this must be it. The device. Oh, this is supposed to happen.
Throw wide the gates that we may pass.
Safe journey, warrior of light. Find our friends and bring them home.
Interesting. Well, there's no delay. We're straight into it. Wow.
Oh, do not look at me so.
You're slaves to a tyrant. There's no freedom in that.
This is one battle you cannot fight. Away with you.
We did everything right. Everything that was asked of us, and still it came to this.
Come on.
Your time has not yet come.
I'm Ophelia. Missed you. Okay, so this is the Warrior of Darkness. You really don't see this sort of story in any MMO, do you? So they're pushing it to the next level.
From endless dreams I awake.
It's pretty.
Something vague, yet urgent, calls me to action once more.
Rare to meet someone out here who's not a peddler themselves. What brings you into the wilds this time of night?
What do you mean, this time of night? But it's bright as day.
Well, if it ain't the oldest joke in the book. Me granddad, God rest his soul, used to tell that one to the barman at kicking out time. And when, pray tell, did we last have a dark night? You rotten old drunk, yet he'd reply. Yeah. Over 100 bleeding years ago, that's when.
Well, reminds me of the Plague of the Stars from Final Fantasy XV, but the opposite.
You got that look down to a T. I'd almost think you meant it. Ah, got to you, did they? Poor beggar. That explains it then. Well, I've roads to travel and wares to sell, but you best hurry along to the town nearby. Just head east through the trees and aim for the Shining Tower. You'll find the place soon enough. 'Tis the biggest settlement for malms around. Go on now, friend. They'll take good care of you in the Crystarium.
Nice. It is pretty.
To dizzying heights it rises. The gleaming spire. Its tip threatening to pierce the blinding canopy. There, it will all begin anew. Between dark and light. The pure and the corrupt. The one true struggle.
Come on. Really? Now they're just showing off. Okay, so now we need to head to the Crystarium, which is over there. So once we get there, we will continue. Okay, so here we go. We're now entering the place.
Halt!
Every face in this city I know. Yours, I do not.
I should subscribe to my YouTube channel then.
This is the threshold of the Crystarium, stranger, and I am its gatekeeper. If you would enter, you will answer my questions.
Okay.
From where do you hail?
YouTube.com/Mithrie. Redania.
Do you take me for a fool? No such place exists.
Oh, really?
Had you given me an honest answer, I would not have barred your way. We care little here for a person's place of origin. But instead, you chose concealment. And I will not suffer you to pass.
Right. Oh, so she's a dancer.
That one had eaten. It must have gulped down the whole hand, ring and all.
Uh-oh.
Everything all right, Captain?
Quite all right, my lord. Just a stray sin eater, and a weak one at that.
I see. Weak or not, we should be on the lookout for more. But I see you've met my guest. I will escort her to the Crystarium myself, if you've no objections.
Another of your mysterious friends, is it? I should have known. Very well. I'll inform the others your guest is to be given the run of the city. Pray forgive my less than cordial welcome. May the rest of your stay with us be a pleasant one.
Thank you.
Come with me. I will answer whatever questions you have when we are somewhere more private. Right then, before we plunge into the wheres and wherefores, let me first thank you for answering my summons. I had intended to bring you directly to my personal quarters, but I fear my aim was slightly off. That you are still able to make the crossing unharmed is a great relief. And so, we come to the question of where. The realm in which you now find yourself belongs to one of the 13 reflections, or shards. The first, to be precise, even if its inhabitants are largely oblivious to the fact. As to wherefore, having been awarded the rather grandiose title of Crystal Exarch, I, in my capacity as caretaker of the Crystarium, thought to seek the aid of you and your companions.
It is pretty. So are the other scions here?
That is a question with no simple answer. But all shall be explained in due course, I promise you. Let us begin with the glaring skies up above. Here in the first, the world has been all but consumed by primordial light. It began a century ago, by this realm's reckoning. A luminous flood swallowing everything in its path. More than 9/10 of this star was lost. And the fortunate few who survived are hounded by abominations born of that catastrophe even now. Sin Eaters, we call them. The creature you saw earlier was one such monstrosity. It was to save the first from this menace that I learned to bridge the rift between worlds. That I might call upon the aid of the greatest of heroes. And though it meant depriving a world of its champion, I had to try. For in saving the first, you would bring salvation to the source as well. But what manner of host harangues his guests in the middle of the road? Let us continue our talk within the Crystarium.
Interesting.
Such a proud and vibrant city. The sole sanctuary for the living in a world all but resigned to oblivion. Each stone was laid with hope. The town itself a symbol, a monument to defiance in the face of death. No would-be hero could fail to answer its call. For who among us does not yearn for salvation?
Nice. So I guess this is our new city. So we didn't have to do any dungeon or anything to unlock to get here. Cool. Jesus Christ. Right. So guys, I'm going to quickly explore. And then we will continue. Okay? Actually, no. I take that back. Because the guy is right. If he wasn't right in front of us, then I would explore. So, okay, let's go. So, and here we are. Welcome, my friend, to the Crystarium. So let's complete. So this is the Syrcus Trench is completed. And we will get a white oak weapon coffer, a polished oak chest with lavish filigree that suggests a valuable weapon lies inside. Required level 70, item level 385. Weapon type determined by the current job and class at the time of opening. Cannot be opened in instance areas. Okay. Nice. So let's see what we have been given. Okay. So is it any good compared to what I have? Yeah, it's actually slightly better. So let's wear the new stuff straight away. Okay. So let us carry on. So the next quest is called City of the First, and where we'll get a chest piece. Wow. So basically, I guess by doing the first few quests of Shadowbringers, you'll get an entire 385 set, which is better than the 380 gear that I have. RIP. So all that time I spent getting 380 gear. RIP. Never mind. So the Crystal SR has a request for you. Of course, it'll only be for one class, so whereas I got 380 gear on every class. Now, a full and frank discussion in the privacy of my study would seem to be in order. But I think our conversation would be more meaningful were you first to gain a firmer grasp of the situation here. To that end, I would like you to visit a few of the Crystarium's civic leaders and glean something of this world and its predicament. So as you can see, this path will take you directly to the Aetheryte, a convenience with which I am sure you are only too familiar. Being the rightful object of my summoning spell, you should in theory be able to reach all the way back to along your etheric trail and find a connection in the source, believe it or not. I strongly suggest you complete this achievement before venturing any further. After you've done so, walk up the steps next to the Aetheryte and head out to the left to arrive in the crystalline mean. This is where you will find our collective of crafters and gatherers, as well as a spokeswoman, a Caitlys, one of the people I should like you to meet. Another is Moren. To reach him and his Cabinet of Curiosity, you'll want to avoid the aforementioned steps. Take the exit on the left and simply continue straight along and down until you come to the large doors at the end of the path. The third and final person I would like you to meet is Bragi, our man in charge of trade and distribution. He is to be found in the markets, which you can access from the opposite side of the Aephorite Plaza. In seeking out each of my colleagues, you will visit the major districts of the city, hopefully gain a feel for the place. I trust my directions were simple enough. Crystal clear. Get it? Crystal clear? Ha ha ha. Very good. I concede the layout of Crystarium owes more to historic necessity than planning, but I'm sure you'll learn its twists and turns before long. In all honesty, the true challenge may be in finding the right way to approach its citizens. As you discovered during your encounter with the captain, the people of this world are unaware of the existence of other stars, and will struggle to accept the truth of your origin. That being the case, when they ask you whence you hail, as they inevitably will, I suggest you claim to share a homeland with the Crystal Ezarch. There is an unspoken rule here about peering too deeply into that particular mystery. When you've finished making the rounds, pray meet me in the large courtyard at the center of town. Until then... Okay, so now I'm going to explore. So once we get to the next destination, we will continue. Okay, so a short run, and we're at the Aephorite. So obviously it's going to be the first thing we're going to do, so that we can teleport back home if we want. Wow, there's a lot of players. So, by focusing your senses, you detect the flow of vastly distant currents of Aether. Your connection to these energies is faint but stable, and should allow teleportation to Aetherites in the source. Cool. So, now, what I'm going to quickly do, I'm going to unlock all of the mini Aetherites to get fully unlocked in the town, and then we will carry on to the next part of the story. So... we will continue in a moment. Okay, so I've been exploring for a bit. I've unlocked all of the Aethernets. I recommend to spend the time, get your bearings in the town, learn what is around, and also as well, as per the patch notes, if a location has got this down arrow or up arrow, it means that the quest marker is above or below your current elevation. So basically this one is below me, basically. So, but because I've already now unlocked all of the Aethernets, I can teleport straight from here to here. But first, let's go to speak to Caitlys right over here, as with the other 10,000 people. And let's carry on the story quest. Looks nice. So rare to see a place so well stocked with goods, isn't it? But not here. I'm going to guess you're new to our fair city. Well, for what it's worth, you've chosen a fine sanctuary. The Exarch can throw up a barrier if the Sin Eaters come knocking, so it's a damn sight safer in here than it is out there. So basically this is Hogwarts. So safer and more civilized too. Thanks to us in the mean, We work together to procure materials and resources and craft the goods which make city life possible. This is a place to visit if you need to coat mended or a kettle forged. Fair enough. Just don't go thinking that it'll all be handed to you on a plate like those El Moron layabouts. Here in the Crystallum, we work for a living. Though I see that you're no stranger to honest labour, you don't have that whiff of indolence about you like some folk I've met. Still, I can't quite pin down your profession. Where is it you're from? One of the Exarch's countrymen, you say? I see. Well then, I'll work twice as hard to make you feel welcome. Our city wouldn't even exist if it weren't for him, and any friend of his is a friend of ours. It's really quite incredible when you think about it. They say his grand magic summoned the Crystal Tower into existence. Pulled the entire thing out of thin air. It wasn't long before droves of refugees began congregating around its base, desperate for shelter after losing their homes to the flood, aka BFA. Wow joke. And that's how the Crystallum began. At the Exarch's invitation, buildings started going up, and with the help of some curious relics brought forth from the tower, the place gradually expanded into the thriving metropolis you see today. The city stood here for decades now, yet the eldest among us swear the Exarch looks exactly the same as he did back then. He is indeed a man of many mysteries, but for all his secrecy, he has never let us down. So, if he and you wish to remain silent about your shared homeland, then the folk here will respect your wish for privacy. I am, however, more than a little curious to see any crafting talent you might be hiding. If you ought to contribute on that front, be sure to come back and visit once you've had a chance to settle in. Just ask for Catalyst, and I'll find you a niche here in the Crystalline Mean. You can help us keep the cogs of the city greased and turning. So, your exchange with Catalyst has taught you about life in the Crystallum. Cool. Nice. Next. So, we are now quickly going to go and teleport here to the Cabinet of Curiosity. Okay. So let's do the next one. It says above us, so let's go. Even higher, I guess. Aha, here we go. Moren. So, excuse me, miss, are you recently come to the city, perchance? I'm quite familiar with our civic roles, you see, and well, what I mean to ask is, have you brought any books with you? A rumpled scroll even, a scrap of scribbled on parchment. My apologies, literature is something of an obsession of mine, as well as a profession. So, Librarian Moran at your service, and this humble collection is known as the Cabinet of Curiosity. As your powers of perception have likely informed you, my colleagues and I are responsible for curating all manners of tomes, documents, and other vehicles for the written word. As horrific as the loss of life and land wrought by the flood unquestionably was, the damage to recorded knowledge was no less catastrophic. A few do all we can to preserve what wisdom survived. But tell me, what brings you to the cabinet today? Looking for any title in particular? Mayhap a spot of academic research? Oh, so you've an interest in modern history. Splendid. A thorough review of recent events can often yield novel perspectives. I quite agree. If you would prefer something visual to accompany the account, then I think I have an illustrated history book for children somewhere. Just a moment, and I'll fetch it for you. And here we are. Would you like to pull up a chair? Make yourself more comfortable? On with the lesson then. Interesting. So 100 years ago, or near enough, on not to matter, villains known as the Warriors of Light slew into the Shadow Keeper, the Steward of Darkness. In the wake of this tainted deed, light began to pour into the world as if from unseen cracks. It poured and swelled without without cease, until the day an enormous blinding wave rose up and swept across our star. We called this calamity the Flood of Light. Everything it touched was leached of life and vigor, leaving naught behind but a luminous wasteland. Yet, just when it seemed that all would be lost, a saviour appeared before us. The Oracle of Light. She stood atwixt us, approaching doom, and by her power did she stay the flood. Thus was Novaran, and Novaran alone spared the fate of Erasure. Tragedy would, however, arrive in another form. From the blasted emptiness descended horrors of strange and terrible aspects to bed evil the few folk who survived. These sin eaters were light incarnate, and their fulgent presence stole the night from Novarant's sky. Even now they circle the remaining bastions of civilization, ever on the hunt for us, ever hungering for our flesh. And thus did the world become what it is. Should you ever wish to hear the tale again, I would be glad to retell it to you. Or if you would rather I speak to others on the matter, that too would be my pleasure. I should be glad of the company. So that your exchange with Moren has taught you about the Flood of Light. Okay. So, guys, I don't want each episode to become too long, so I think I'm going to call it there. So, anyway, guys, if you liked the episode, be sure to give it a thumbs up. More Shadowbringers story on the way. You can watch a random video over there, you can watch the latest upload down there, or you can click down here to subscribe. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.